What hidden truth is Jungkook desperately trying to expose behind the shocking break-in at Taehyung's home? And why is he urging fans worldwide to stay alert and speak up? Before diving into this intense investigation, make sure to comment your thoughts, hit like if you support justice for Tae, and subscribe so you don't miss any updates as this mystery deepens. What if the break-in at Taehyung's home wasn't as simple as everyone first believed? What if the person caught on camera was only a distraction? A shadow meant to hide a deeper, more dangerous mastermind? And what if Jungkook, shaken yet fiercely determined, has begun piecing together clues that the public hasn't seen? Clues that point to someone far closer, someone the world would never suspect. These questions exploded across fandom spaces worldwide the moment rumors broke that Jungkook had privately demanded investigators dig deeper, harder, and faster into the terrifying breach of Taehyung's personal sanctuary. But why would he insist on a full-scale investigation unless he already sensed something horribly wrong? Why would he request immediate legal action, immediate arrests, and immediate accountability unless he felt the real threat was still out there? Watching? The night everything changed for Taehyung had initially seemed straightforward. An intruder caught lurking around his home, a chilling silence in the hallway, a door left slightly open, and a security breach that should never have been possible. But as days passed, something in the story refused to settle. Something didn't add up. Taehyung, despite trying to remain calm, kept showing subtle signs of fear that only those closest to him could recognize. His hands trembled in ways he tried to hide. His voice softened whenever the incident was mentioned, and his eyes darted as though expecting the intruder to reappear. Jungkook noticed all of it. And once he did, he couldn't let it go. Because why, after all this time, did Taehyung look as if he knew more than he dared to say? Why did he flinch whenever investigators described the intruder as a lone culprit acting independently? Why did he go silent for a full minute when someone mentioned the possibility of an accomplice? Jungkook had watched his best friend long enough to understand the difference between stress and fear. And what Taehyung was experiencing was terror. Not general fear, but the kind triggered by recognition. As if the shadowy figure caught on camera was connected to someone else, something Taehyung didn't want to believe. Jungkook began acting on instinct. He reached out to the investigative team, demanded updates, and insisted they re-examine every detail. He urged them to trace every movement, every glitch in the security footage, every unaccounted second that might point to the involvement of more than one person. Rumors say he even reviewed parts of the footage himself, replaying certain frames again and again, searching for any indication that the break-in was only the visible tip of a larger, hidden plan. And with each replay, each whispered conversation with Tae, each subtle expression he caught, Jungkook's suspicion grew stronger. This wasn't the work of a desperate fan or a casual criminal. This was orchestrated. But who would target Taehyung in such a calculated manner? Who would have access, knowledge, or motive? Was it someone who had been close to the home? Someone with the ability to bypass security systems too advanced for an amateur? Or someone who simply knew Taehyung's routines too well? Jungkook wrestled with these questions late into the night, but the one that haunted him the most was painfully simple. Why did Taehyung seem more afraid of the unknown mastermind than the intruder who was physically present? This hidden terror became the fuel behind Jungkook's persistence. He urged the investigative team to question every assumption they had initially formed. He asked them to reconsider angles they had dismissed. Some insiders claim he even hinted at the possibility that the mastermind could be someone with personal ties, someone who once had access, someone who understood Taehyung's vulnerabilities. The idea shook investigators, but Jungkook insisted. He couldn't ignore the sinking feeling forming in his chest, the quiet warning Taehyung's eyes conveyed every time the subject was mentioned. And so he pushed harder. The world didn't know about this quiet storm building behind closed doors, at least not until a leak from someone close to the investigation hinted that Jungkook was demanding immediate legal action. He wanted the intruder arrested as soon as possible. He wanted the investigation extended, not closed. He wanted every detail exposed, every connection cross-checked, every message, every interaction, every suspicious movement analyzed. It was no longer just about catching the person who stepped into Taehyung's house. It was about uncovering the truth behind why they were there in the first place. Fans around the globe erupted. Army quickly pieced together speculations, dissecting every rumor, every possible clue. Why was Jungkook so insistent? Why was he so convinced something bigger was at play? Why did he seem almost desperate for swift justice? Many concluded that Jungkook's reaction was rooted not just in anger, but in protectiveness, an instinct sharpened by years of watching over Taehyung both on stage and off. Others believed he had seen or heard something that the public had not been allowed to know. Theories spread like wildfire. Perhaps Taehyung had received threats earlier that he had kept private. Perhaps someone had been watching the home for weeks. Or perhaps, chillingly, the intruder had not intended to steal anything at all but had come to deliver a message. Jungkook knew that silence was dangerous. He knew that dismissing the incident as a random break-in would leave Taehyung vulnerable, and so he vowed to tear apart every layer of secrecy surrounding the case. He demanded transparency from investigators, accountability from those responsible for security, and justice for Taehyung, who had suffered far more emotionally than anyone realized. The questions he raised pushed the investigation into new territory. Could the intruder have been working under instructions? Was someone monitoring the aftermath, waiting to see how Taehyung responded? And if so, what did they want? The emotional weight of the incident was visible in Jungkook's actions. He refused to let Taehyung walk alone. He checked on him frequently, stayed close, and reassured him that he wasn't facing this alone. Yet behind Jungkook's protective calm was a fiery determination. Insiders described him as restless, pacing, unable to sleep, constantly requesting updates, acting as though time was slipping away faster than investigators could move. It was as if Jungkook believed something worse might happen if the mastermind wasn't found soon. Who was this hidden figure? Why were they targeting Taehyung? What connection did they have to the first intruder? These questions continued to rise like smoke from a fire that refused to die out. Jungkook pushed investigators to expand the search. Phone logs, financial records, communication trails, abandoned profiles, deleted messages. He wanted footprints, even faint ones. He wanted shadows tracked back to their source. And he wanted the law to move quickly, without hesitation, without waiting for a second incident. He made his stance clear. The person behind this had to be brought to justice immediately, before they could attempt anything else. As the investigation deepened, tensions rose. Pieces of information began aligning. Details that seemed harmless at first suddenly gained importance. A car seen near the home days before the break-in. A message Taehyung had been hesitant to talk about. A name he refused to say out loud. A security glitch no one could explain. Jungkook examined each clue with relentless focus, refusing to overlook anything. And slowly, a disturbing truth began to materialize. A truth neither he nor Taehyung was ready to confront. Something darker was hiding beneath the surface. Something personal, something planned, something that had been building long before the night of the break-in, and Jungkook knew it. That is why he demanded the intruder be arrested immediately. That is why he pushed investigators to go beyond the initial conclusions. That is why he insisted the mastermind be exposed and held accountable. And that is why he refused to let the case fade from public attention. The world needed to know. Taehyung needed justice. And Jungkook wouldn't stop until every hidden truth was dragged into the light. But the question now echoing across the fandom and haunting Jungkook himself is simple yet terrifying. If the intruder was only a pawn, then who is the person pulling the strings, and how long until they strike again? As the investigation moves forward, as new revelations emerge, and as Jungkook continues fighting behind the scenes, one thing has become clear.